The evening sun dipped low over Charleston, South Carolina, in May 2025, painting the cobblestone streets of King Street in hues of gold and amber. Laughter spilled from open storefronts, and the faint strum of a street guitarist wove through the air like a warm breeze. Nestled among the charm, Harbor's Edge glowed softly, an upscale restaurant where candlelight danced on polished tables and the clink of wine glasses sang of refinement. Inside, the hum of conversation blended with the sizzle of an open kitchen, waiters gliding with practiced grace, their smiles polished but distant. It was a place where every detail whispered wealth, where unspoken rules held as much weight as the leather-bound menus. But tonight, those rules were about to be shattered. Calvin Brooks stepped through the heavy oak doors, his presence quiet but commanding. Tall and broad-shouldered, he moved with a steady stride, neither rushed nor hesitant, like a man who knew his worth but didn't need to shout it. His skin was a deep, rich brown, smooth as polished wood, and his face carried the calm of someone who'd seen enough to expect little but demand much. He wore a plain gray button-up, neatly pressed but unadorned, paired with dark slacks, clean but slightly worn at the hems. His shoes, though modest, gleamed with care, and a simple canvas messenger bag hung from his shoulder. No flashy watch, no designer label, just a man who bent the air around him with a subtle gravity, like heat rising from pavement. At the hostess stand, Rachel Miller looked up, her fingers pausing mid-tap on the reservation tablet. Her smile flickered, a split-second crack before it hardened into something tight and practiced. Her eyes, sharp under flawless makeup, scanned him, her brow twitching with a silent question. Her gold name tag gleamed, proclaiming assistant manager like a shield. "Can I help you?" she asked, her tone cool, as if he'd wandered in by mistake. Calvin nodded, his voice low and steady. "Table for one, please." No apology, no explanation, just a quiet expectation that carried weight. Rachel's gaze lingered, then darted around the room. Tables stood empty, a cozy two-seater by the window, a booth under a glowing chandelier, another near the fireplace, untouched. Yet she tapped her tablet, sighed theatrically, and said, "We're mostly booked, but I've got something in the back." She turned, heels clicking, and led him past the warm glow of the dining room to a dim corner near the restrooms, where a wobbly table sat squeezed beside a janitor's closet. The air carried a faint whiff of bleach, and the walls' peeling paint told a story of neglect. Calvin's eyes flicked to the vacant window table, but he said nothing, his face a closed book. "This'll do," he murmured, his tone clipped but calm. Rachel's lips curled, not a smile but a smirk, cold and satisfied. "Follow me," she said, handing him a menu with 2 fingers, her arm extended like she was passing off something unclean. As he passed other tables, a few heads turned, a quick smirk from a man in a tailored suit, a whispered comment behind a menu from a woman in diamonds. Calvin didn't flinch, didn't shrink. He sat, unfolding the napkin across his lap with a deliberate grace, dignity woven into every motion. Rachel vanished without a word, her heels fading into the hum of the restaurant. Calvin scanned the menu, his lips pressing thin, not with anger, but with recognition. This wasn't new. He'd been shunted to corners before, served last, spoken to like he didn't belong. But tonight, something burned behind his eyes, a quiet resolve sharper than pride, a knowing that made the air feel heavy with promise. The corner was a world apart from the restaurant's heart. While the main floor basked in soft light and laughter, Calvin's table sat under a flickering fluorescent bulb, buzzing like a trapped insect. The kitchen door's metallic clang punctuated every few seconds, sending gusts of greasy air his way. The chair creaked under him, resenting his weight, and the table rocked with every move. He studied the menu, his fingers tracing the options, settling on something simple: grilled snapper, roasted carrots, mashed potatoes, black coffee. No frills, no fuss, just honest food. Rachel returned, her walk deliberate, heels stabbing the floor, her smile more grimace than greeting. "Decided yet, sir?" she asked, the word "sir" dripping with mockery. Calvin met her gaze. Snapper, carrots, potatoes, coffee. Black. Her eyebrows shot up, her voice syrupy with condescension. "Oh, going all out, huh? That's what, $25? Big night?" Calvin's expression didn't shift, but the air grew denser. "I ordered," he said, his voice flat. Rachel leaned in, her tone slicing. "We get folks like you all the time, acting like you own the place with your budget meal. Don't cry when the bill comes." His eyes held hers, unyielding, calm in a way that made her shift uncomfortably. "Just put it in," she snapped, spinning away, muttering something sharp under her breath. Calvin sat still, hands on the table, fingers tapping a slow rhythm, like a clock counting down. Around him, the restaurant thrived, waiters balancing trays of vibrant dishes, a couple clinking glasses, a kid giggling at a star-shaped dessert. His food arrived with a thud, the plate slapped down, silverware tossed beside it. Rachel didn't look at him. "Enjoy," she said, the word thick with sarcasm, then vanished. The snapper was dry, its edges curled like parchment. The carrots were limp, greasy, the potatoes a gray, clumpy mess. Compared to the artful plates at other tables, his looked like an afterthought, scraped from a closing kitchen. He unfolded his napkin, took a single bite, chewing slowly, tasting every ounce of disrespect baked into the meal. Then he set the fork down, his gaze sweeping the room, not for help, but to bear witness. "Excuse me," he called, his voice low but cutting through the din. Rachel turned, annoyance flashing across her face, and sauntered over, arms crossed. "What now?" she asked, her tone sharp. He gestured to the plate. "Is this how you serve this dish?" She scoffed, tilting her head. "For folks like you?" "Yeah, we save the pretty stuff for real customers." The words landed like a slap, and for the first time, Calvin's jaw tightened, his calm cracking just enough to show steel beneath. He didn't shout, didn't curse, just stared, letting her words hang. Rachel lingered, expecting a fight, then sneered and walked off, her heels louder than before, echoing like taunts. Calvin folded his hands, the meal no longer about hunger, but about how far someone could push and how quietly he could push back. The tension grew as he rose, heading for the restroom, the bleach scent trailing him. But before he reached the door, Rachel's voice cut through, shrill and commanding. "Sir." He stopped, turning slowly, eyebrows raised. She marched over, arms crossed, her pout mocking. "Main restrooms for customers only. You've spent, what, $25? Policy says 50 minimum." Calvin blinked. "That's not on the menu." She snapped, "Doesn't need to be. Company rule. Use the basement one, by the mop sink." The room quieted, diners glancing over. Calvin's voice tightened. "So I can't use the bathroom because I didn't spend enough?" She nodded, smug. "Exactly. Basement's that way." He stared, his jaw clenching. "Do other guests use the mop sink? Or just folks like me?" Her facade cracked, then hardened. "Don't pull that card," she hissed. "Follow the rule, or leave." He nodded once, not in surrender but in recording, and walked to the basement, the room holding its breath. The restroom was grim-cracked mirror, stained sink, dripping pipe, reeking of bleach. He washed his hands, the water gurgling, and caught his reflection, not rage but resolve, sharpened like a blade. Returning, he froze. His table was gaunt, chair, plate, napkin, all erased, the floor bare. A waitress nearby looked startled. "They thought you left," she mumbled. "I was gone for minutes," Calvin said, his voice dark. Rachel appeared, her smile venomous. "Oh, you're back? We figured you skipped the bill." His fists clenched, but his voice stayed low, lethal. "Don't lie. You knew I didn't leave." "You watch me." She scoffed. "I don't track every guest who wanders off. You left, we cleaned. Talk to management if you want to. Wait, they're not here." Calvin stepped closer, his voice a quiet storm. "You served me garbage, blocked me from the restroom, cleared my table, and now you're lying." "Explain that." Rachel's eyes flashed. "You're making a scene over nothing. You ordered cheap, sat in the back, and now you're playing victim? Boo-hoo." The room was silent, just too soft for the drama. Calvin reached into his bag, pulling a sleek black folder. He opened it, revealing a contract, and handed it to Rachel. "This," he said, his voice slicing the air, "is the ownership agreement. I bought this chain 3 months ago. Tonight, I came as a guest, watching." Rachel's face strained, her lips parting in shock. "Now," Calvin said, "explain why you treated a paying customer like trash, invented policies, and lied." She stammered, "I didn't know," but her voice broke. Calvin raised an eyebrow. "Know what?" "That I deserved respect." Murmurs spread, diners shifting, a teen filming discreetly. Rachel tried. "It's a misunderstanding," but Calvin cut her off. "You didn't misunderstand. You chose." The manager, Ethan, rushed in, summoned by a server, his face paling as Calvin handed him the contract. "Your employee humiliated me, lied about policies, and erased my meal, Calvin said. Ethan scanned the paper, his voice trembling. This is real. Calvin nodded. She didn't care who I was because she didn't think I mattered. Rachel snapped. He tricked us. Calvin's voice was steel. I came hungry. You set yourself up. Ethan turned to Rachel, his voice shaking. Remove your name tag. She gasped. You're firing me? He nodded. You did this. Her hand shook as she unclipped the tag, the gold glinting as she handed it over. No one spoke as she stormed out, the door slamming. A lone clap broke the silence, then another, growing into applause not for her exit, but for Calvin's stand. He didn't smile, just watched the door close. The applause faded, but the air crackled. Ethan cleared his throat. I'd like to review the footage, he said. Calvin nodded. Do it. Ethan disappeared, returning with a laptop, the screen frozen on Rachel blocking Calvin's path, smirking. The video played, her mocking tone echoing, gasps rippling through the diners. An older woman, gray-haired, approached Calvin, her voice soft. Thank you for staying, she said. He nodded, his eyes softening. Some fights are worth it. The video went viral, streamed live by the teen, racking up thousands of views. Hashtags flared. Dine with respect, he owns it. Calvin didn't chase headlines, didn't sue. He returned the next night, same table, same shirt, now spotless, the food warm, Ethan's apology raw. We're retraining everyone, Ethan said. Not because you're the owner, but because it's right. Calvin ate in peace. Weeks later, a brass plaque appeared near his table. Every guest is worthy. No questions, no exceptions. Harbor's edge changed, its culture rooted in respect. Calvin's quiet strength its new foundation. His story spread, a testament to justice won not with fists but with truth. What do you think? Should Calvin have revealed himself sooner, or was his silence his strength? Was Rachel's firing fair, or was she just following a broken system? Can a business truly change after something like this, or is it all surface? Share your thoughts below, hit that like button, and subscribe for more stories that make you think.